Hello everyone, good morning again. Dear grade 6 students, males and females, this is teacher Ala Albani. Welcome my dear students. Our lesson, my dear students, today is about Unit 7, reading and vocabulary. Today, our beginning will be a little bit different. Today, we're going to talk about a story of a great scientist. And before we start, and as usual, we need to know our objectives for this lesson, and after that we can start. So the first one is we need to read a new lesson about a great scientist, as I told you. And number two is to use a new vocabulary words in meaningful sentences. And my dear students, it is important to know that using your dictionaries is a must in such lessons, because you need to identify and you need also to know, to find out some meanings in order to understand. Okay, now before I go on the reading lesson, I will tell you about our strategy for understanding the lesson today. So please open your student's book, page 58 and 59, to tell you the strategies that we need to follow today and then to start. Strategy number 1. You see, we always need to listen. We need to practice our listening skill and reading too. In each lesson, in such lessons there are new highlighted words, and they are 15. Their definitions exist here. The vocabulary exercise. While we are listening and reading the lesson here, I will stop and ask you some questions and match the highlighted words, like wealthy, for example, governess, etc., to the definitions, the number of the definitions here. So for example, I will tell you that wealthy here, its definition is number, for example, 1. I hope that you understand. Finally, the text here is divided into 3 paragraphs. On each paragraph, I will stop a little bit and ask you some questions about the paragraph in order to help you to understand a little bit more. Let's start with listening, and this is the first step.
Unit 7, page 59. Read. Exercise 2. Read and listen to the text. A great scientist. Marie Curie was born in Warsaw, Poland in 1867. Her father taught physics, and her mother was the head teacher of a girls' school. Marie was a very intelligent student at secondary school, but she couldn't go to university because she was a woman. So she worked as a governess for the children of a wealthy family and studied secretly at a university in Warsaw. Marie was extremely hard-working, and she sometimes stayed awake all night to study. Later, she moved to France and studied science at the Sorbonne, a famous university in Paris. In 1906, she became the first woman to teach at the Sorbonne when she got the job of Professor of Physics.
Okay, this is the first paragraph. This is the beginning of our story about the great scientist Marie Curie. First of all, there are 4 highlighted words here that we need to know their meanings. The first one, governess. What is the meaning of governess? Now, my dear students, look at this part of the book and let us guess the meaning. I will give you few seconds to guess. What is the meaning of governess? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The meaning of governess is number 7. A woman who teaches children in their home. So what about the meaning of wealthy? The other highlighted words. The other highlighted word is wealthy here, and its meaning, another 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The meaning of wealthy is number 8. Having a lot of money. Now the next one, extremely. The meaning of extremely is another 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The meaning of extremely is number 10. It is very. Don't forget, my dear students, that you can pause the video to guess the answers. Let's go to the next word, which is awake. Awake means another 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is number 14. Not sleeping. Okay. Now, let's go back to the paragraph. After listening to the paragraph here that started talking about Marie Curie, I would like actually to ask you some questions, and the questions will be displayed here. The first question is, when was Marie Curie born? And if I want to add another question word, I would like to ask you, my dear students, with when and where was Marie Curie born? The answer is, for this question, don't forget, you can pause the video. I will tell you now. The answer is, Marie Curie was born in Warsaw, Poland in 1867. Now let me ask you another question. The other question here is, Did she complete her study? And this question requires explanation. Try to guess the answer. The answer for this question is Marie Curie studied secretly at a university in Warsaw, and later she moved to France and studied science in the Sorbonne, a famous university in Paris. What about the other question about this paragraph? Question number 3 says, what was her father and mother's job? I think that this question is a little bit easy for you. Okay, I have used the green color in the first paragraph. Can you guess the answer of the question? Simply, my dear students, question number 3 is about the job of the father and the mother, and as you see, the line here says her father taught physics and her mother was the head teacher of a girls' school. Now we need to continue listening to the other part of the text. Let's continue listening.
Unit 7.
Okay.
Working. And she sometimes stayed awake all night to study.
Wait a minute, please. Okay.
University in Paris. In 1906, when she got the job of professor of physics.
I'm sorry. Okay, now you can listen to the second paragraph.
At the university laboratory at the Sorbonne, she met another scientist, Pierre Curie. They got married in 1895 and had 2 children. Pierre thought that Marie was a genius, and he was happy to help her. Together, they did a lot of important work on radioactivity and discovered radium and polonium. In 1903, they won the Nobel Prize for Physics, and they used the prize money they collected to help needy students. Sadly, 3 years later, Pierre died in a road accident, but Marie didn't stop working. In fact, she won the Nobel Prize for Chemistry in 1911. She is the only woman to win 2 Nobel Prizes.
Okay, that's enough for this paragraph. Now, as we did in the previous paragraph, we need to go to vocabulary exercise and start talking about the definitions. Okay, now what is the meaning of laboratory? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The meaning is a room where scientists do research and experiments. Now, what is the meaning of genius? Listen, my dear students, I am going in order with the highlighted words in your paragraph. So the meaning of genius now, another 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Who can guess? It means number 9. A person who is much more intelligent than other people. Okay, now what is the meaning of discovered? Another 5 seconds. Extra 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The meaning of discovered is number 5. Found or learned something that people didn't know before. Now, what about prize? The meaning of prize. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The meaning of prize is number 12. It is something that a person or team wins in a game or competition. Okay. The next one is collected. What is the meaning of collected? Another 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't forget to pause the video to take extra time to think about the answers. Be smart, dear students. The answer is number 11. Went and got something from a place. And finally, the meaning of needy in the second paragraph. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 13 is the answer. The meaning of needy is not having enough money, food, or clothes. Now, prepare yourselves to see the new group of questions about paragraph number 2. Now let's go to the other screen together. Question number 4 says, what was her husband's name? Very simple. His name was Pierre Curie. So the answer is Pierre Curie. What about the other question? Number 5 says, why Pierre would love to marry her. What do you think the answer is? The answer for this question is Pierre thought that Mary was genius and he was happy to help her. The answer for the first question is Pierre Curie, and the answer for the second question is this line: Pierre thought that Mary was genius and he was happy to help her. Okay, what about the other question, which is number 6? It is, what was their achievement? The answer for this question is, it is the fact that discovering of radium and polonium. Mary and Pierre have discovered the radium and polonium. Okay, what happened next? Our next question is, how many Nobel Prizes did they got? I'm sorry, how many prizes did they get? The answer is, they won the Nobel Prize for Physics, and they used the prize money they collected to help needy people, or needy students, not people. The other fact is about Mary, that she won a Nobel Prize, another Nobel Prize for chemistry in 1911. So Mary is the only woman to win 2 Nobel Prizes. This is the fact, and these are the numbers of the Nobel Prizes they have got. Okay, now we need to continue the last part of the text here, and another part of listening. Let's listen to the last part of the
Marie Curie stayed in France for the rest of her life. She tried to use her discoveries to help people who were ill in hospital. At that time, people didn't know that it was dangerous to work with radium. Marie became ill because of the radioactivity and died of cancer in 1934. In 1995, the French government moved the remains of Marie and her husband Pierre to the Pantheon, the building in Paris where people can visit the tombs of the most famous people in French history.
Now this is everything about this story. Let's go now to the vocabulary part here. Okay, now let's continue. What is the meaning of rest? The meaning of rest is, number 1, the part of something that is left. The meaning of L, another 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, excellent. The answer is number 3, not well. What about government? The meaning of government is number think about it. Yes, it is number 6, the group of people who control a country. What about remains? What is the meaning of remains? The meaning of remains is number think about it a little bit more. It is number 2, the body of a dead person. And the last meaning is tombs. It is number 4, places where they put important dead people. Okay, now we need to continue the rest of the questions. We have about paragraph number 3. And actually, my dear students, we still have only 2 questions about this paragraph. Number 8 is, what is the danger of working with radium? Think about the answer. The answer actually about number 8, question number 8, that radium causes a very dangerous disease. It was dangerous because this disease was the main cause of Mary's death, which also causes cancer for her in 1934. The last question about this paragraph is talking about the Pantheon. What is Pantheon? Pantheon is, as you see, the building in Paris where people can visit the tombs of the most famous people in French history, and this is the place where the remains of Mary and her husband Pierre moved to. Okay, after finishing the whole questions and the text too, let's start answering the exercises and the questions that follow the text. The second question here is about, okay, we need to decide whether these statements are true or false, and we need to use this key. The first sentence or statement says, okay, number 1 is Mary Curie was born in Warsaw. Is that true or false? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, it is true. Number 2, her mother taught physics. Is that true or false? Who taught physics in our lesson? The mother or someone else? The answer is false, because her mother was a head teacher and her father is the person who taught physics. What about number 3? She couldn't go to university because she was a governess. Is that correct or not? It is also false, because the main reason of being unable to go to university was not being a governess, but it was about being a woman. What about next one? Number 4. She met Pierre Curie at a university in Paris. Is that true or false? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The answer is true. Number 5. Mary and Pierre discovered radioactivity. Is that true or false? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mary and Pierre discovered not radioactivity. The answer is radium and polonium. And number 6 says she died because of her work. Is that true? The answer is actually true. Let's go now to the next exercise, which is multiple choice. Exercise 3 says, read the text again, then choose the best answers. Number 1. Marie Curie was A. from a rich family, B. a secondary school teacher, or C. a university professor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The answer is C. She was a university professor. What about number 2? Pierre Curie. A. won a Nobel Prize for chemistry. B. kept the prize money. C. enjoyed working with his wife. The answer is yes. He enjoyed working with his wife. Now, number 3. After Pierre Curie died, Marie Curie won 2 more Nobel Prizes, or continued her work, or became poor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She continued her work. Marie Curie tried to help ill people with her work, or worked in a hospital, or went back to Poland. What do you think the answer is? Yes, it is A. She tried to help ill people with her work. And finally, number 5, at this Pantheon you can visit the tombs of lots of famous scientists or well-known people, or finally people from the French government. The answer for this question is B. You can visit well-known people. Okay, my dear students, now we can go to this group of questions about the text too. And I know that we have answered a lot of questions about the text, but these are a group of, let's say that these are an extra group about questions, about the text. The first question says, what did Marie Curie's father teach? He taught. Number 2. What did Marie Curie study at the Sorbonne? She studied science. Number 3. When did Marie and Pierre Curie get married? They got married in 1895. How many Nobel Prizes did she win? It is apparently 2. And the last question, how did Pierre Curie die? He died in a road accident. Now, thank you. Very quickly, I want you to go to the next page, please, which is page number 16. Let's start with this exercise. We need to use the group of vocabulary words that we learned in the lesson today and put them in the correct place. We need to fill them in these gaps. The first sentence says, put the dead kings in the center of the city so that people could visit it. I want to remind you, my dear students, you can pause the video to think about the gaps here. Who can put the king's what in where? In the center of the city so that people could visit it. Actually, the government put the dead king's what Yes, the answer is remains in a tomb in the center of the city so that people could visit it. Number 2. It was what I was what tired last night, but I stayed what to watch the football match between Liverpool and Milan. The answer is I was extremely tired last night, but I stayed awake to watch the football match. Number 3. Jack won first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The answer is prize. In the school chess competition, he bought it from the head teacher's office on Friday. Collected. Number 4. I studied at school, but the what of my brothers and sisters studied with our what. Don't forget to pause the video and to think about the answers. Okay, the answer in this sentence is I studied at school, but the rest of my brothers and sisters studied with our governess. Number 5. After the earthquake, there were a lot of what people who were hungry and what many what people gave money to help them. After the earthquake, there were a lot of needy people who were hungry and ill. Many wealthy people gave money to help them. And finally, number 6, he spent all his time in the university laboratory, and his teachers thought he was a genius when he discovered a new chemical formula. And because our lesson was about scientists and the field of science and studying, we need to learn some important group of vocabulary words about university life. Okay, my dear students, we need to match the definitions with the words here. So for example, when we say research, what does that mean? It is obviously it means a careful study of something. So what about saying undergraduate? The meaning of undergraduate is, yes, it is a university student. We match it with D. What about number 3, lecturer? I give you time to think about them. Number 3 is lecturer. He is a teacher at university. What about 4, notes? Think about it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, it is the information from class that you write on a piece of paper. What about 5, lecture? It is obviously class at university. What about number 6? Graduate. What is a graduate? Graduate is someone who has a university qualification, which is G. Number 7, degree. Degree, my dear students, is B, which is a university qualification. And finally, number 8, professor is a very important teacher at the university. So after learning such words which are related to university life, it is important to memorize them, because you need to use them later in your texts and on other skills you do. The other exercise is collocations with do, give, go, and take. Such verbs are very important to use because we use them in different situations and with a lot of phrases, so they don't give us the same meaning as the Arabic language. So it is important to know and sometimes to memorize the phrases that go together. Like number 1, I always take lots of notes when I am in a lecture. Number 2 says, Professor Roberts and Professor Williams what lectures on nuclear physics. So we need to think whether it is do, give, go, or take. Can we say Professor Roberts and Professor Williams do lectures, give lectures, go lectures, or take lectures? So logically, people in this situation give lectures. Number 3, did you what to the lecture of Roman cities? Did you do, go, give, or take? It is did you go to the lecture of Roman cities? Number 4, we went to what research into chemicals and food? We want to do, give, go, or take. We want to do research into chemicals and food. Number 5, my brother is planning to do, give, go, or take. My brother is planning to go to university. And do a degree, give a degree, go a degree, or take a degree. In biology, the answer is do a degree in biology, but first he is going to do a break, give a break, go a break, or take a break, and go traveling. Yes, the answer is take. Number 6, the careers office at school can do advice, give advice, go advice, or take advice about jobs. or further education? The answer is give advice. Number 7. I would like to do a course, give a course, go a course, or take a course on accounting, but maths is my worst subject. I would like to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, it is due. Let's go to the next exercise, which is number 3. And because everything today is about science, we need to know some new group of words about places of work. And this exercise requires to complete the sentences with the words in the box. It is, yes, the words in the box are court, studio, surgery, operating theater, laboratory, or stock exchange. Number 1 is a scientist works in a laboratory. Number 2, a surgeon works in, what do you think? Is it a court, a studio, surgery, an operating theater, or stock exchange? He absolutely works in an operating theater. Number 3, a broker works in a court, studio, surgery, or stock exchange. So, yes, the broker absolutely works in a stock exchange. Next one, a judge works in a court, a studio, or a surgery. Yes, of course he works in a court. I'm sorry for not showing you the answers here. We have finished, yes, the court. And number 5, an artist works in a studio or in a surgery. He absolutely works in a studio. And finally, the doctor works in a surgery. The last exercise for today is exercise number 4. We need to use some prepositions and to fill them in the correct place, in the correct gaps in this biography. This biography is about a person who called Samira Musa. Samira Musa was born on March the 3rd, 1917. What Egypt? Can we use an, with, at, for, to, of, and to, after, or what? In this case, we absolutely need to use in Egypt. Her mother was, okay, her mother died in cancer or on cancer, at, for, into, after, or what? Her mother died of cancer when she was young. She moved what? Cairo. What? Her father. She moved in with to for Cairo. What do you think? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She moved to Cairo with her father. What after her mother's death? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After her mother's death. Cairo she studied. Can we say in Cairo, with Cairo, at Cairo, on Cairo, of Cairo, or what? Think about it. The answer is in Cairo she studied science. What Cairo University? Do we study in, at, with, for, after, or what? Cairo University. The answer is absolutely at Cairo University. She did research. What? Atomic radiation at the university. In, with, on, into, after, or of, or for. The answer is into. Atomic radiation at the university. She wanted to use nuclear energy to help people, and she organized the Atomic Energy What Peace Conference. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The answer is 4. And the last two gaps are: the American government wanted her to become an American, but she said Egypt is waiting. What? Me? In me, with me, at me, for me, of me, after me, or what? Egypt is waiting for me. Sadly, she died in 1952 in an accident in the USA. Finally, my dear students, I have finished the lesson for today, and I know it was longer than before. And in order not to make the lesson longer, I want you just for a few seconds to go to your workbook to tell you about the homework that you need to do and to send them to me after you finish doing them. On this page, page 52 on the workbook, exercise number 2 is talking about another story of another scientist. I want you, my dear students, to do this exercise, to read the following text here about this scientist and to answer the questions here, the multiple choice here, and after that to do this exercise. This exercise requires to put these sentences in the correct order in order to make this story organized in the correct order. Okay, what is else? Now, to help you practicing the new vocabulary a little bit more, I want you to do this exercise as a homework about the vocabulary page, and to use in exercise number 3 the collocation words do, give, go, and take, the verbs, to use them correctly with these sentences. That was everything about today's lesson. Thank you for listening and watching, my dear students, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you and bye bye.